Okay, my name is Andrei, and I'm what's known as a camera and Steadicam operator. And my duties involve working with directors of photography when I'm not a director of photography myself. So I do some lighting myself as well, but it involves me operating a camera, Steadicam, and other camera systems in order to produce the images that are required for the film or TV production. So the sort of productions that you will have seen are anything that you might have seen on television. So I started out my career at the BBC, so I shot everything from current affairs to sport. I shot a lot of sport, but latterly I've shot a lot of television drama and feature films. So the sort of television things that I would have shot are things like quiz shows, or they might be things like EastEnders, or they might be sports like rugby. I shot a lot of rugby. I shot 2 Olympic Games, and those television things were part of a large crew very often. So those are the sort of things I'd have shot in television. In terms of the TV drama, the sort of things that I've been involved in is things like Waking the Dead, which I shot for nine years. Also new things like Anansi Boys, which is probably not out yet by the time you see this, but also things like The Man Who Fell to Earth, which is a television series. Also Outlander, which is a very popular television series, very popular in America and also here. Feature films, Death on the Nile. I shot recently Belfast, which is another film with Kenneth Branagh that I operated on, and also a comedy film that I filmed with an American director called The Bubble, which was on Netflix. I filmed that as well, so I was operator on that as well. As camera operator, I don't fixate on styles of work, because really you're there as a means for the director and the director of photography to get in front of the audience what they've envisaged, what they've sort of got in their heads. So it's up to me really to sort of produce that. Having said that, I've been greatly influenced by some of the great filmmakers of the past, whether it be Wim Wenders or whether it be Ridley Scott. I was very heavily influenced by Ridley Scott movies. So I'm originally from Northampton. I was born and brought up in Northampton. For those of you who know Northampton, I'm from the West End, that is Duston. So I was born and brought up there, went to school there. But I started my career in London because certainly back then there wasn't really a film industry or television industry or even sort of video production in Northampton. You had to go to the big cities, and that really was London. So after my A-levels in college and what have you, I found myself in the BBC, and I stayed there for 13 years. I live back in Northampton, and the reason I do that is because I like Northampton. I'm from here, obviously. But also, I work all over the world, so there's not really the necessity to live in London. And besides, even if you live outside of London, you're not banned from going into London. I'm in and out of London all the time. The best thing about my job as camera operator is being involved in the creativity and influencing what the viewer is going to see, because that's pretty much under your control. You are the sort of the eyes of the audience. So what you frame and how you decide to frame it, obviously in conjunction with other team members, is what the audience are going to see. So you have a tremendous amount of I won't call it power, but influence. That's on the sort of film and TV drama side. On things like TV sport, for instance, you have even more influence because you are literally the eyes of the director, and you have the ability to show the audience a great deal or not very much. And if you're good at it, if you're skilled at it, you can show the audience a great deal, to the point now where even refereeing or umpiring decisions are decided by officials looking at TV pictures. So, you can be very influential, on that side of it. So it's quite enjoyable, and every day is different. For youngsters wanting to get into the film and television industry, I would say there is space for every type of interest and ability. Feed those interests, research those interests, and get yourself into a position where you are as good as you can be, at it, and then give it a go. These days I think it's easier to get into the industry, but much harder to progress. So if you're young and you're interested in going into this area, find a company that does that sort of thing in your area and learn as much as you can about not just your discipline, but those disciplines that join it and that are sort of close to it. So, for instance, if you are into photography, find a photographer or find a production company that does video and learn how to do it. But also learn how to do editing, learn how to do lighting, learn how to do production management, learn all of those things that influence your core craft. And then once you've got your experience, then you can progress. One of the ways in which you can progress in this industry, and it is like rocket fuel, is you find innovation. And when you find innovation, whether on the internet or in magazines or whatever, you contact the innovator directly. Tell them who you are. But here's the secret: you ask for training. Because innovation is a very lonely business, and what will happen is those innovators will go, of course I'll teach you, because nobody's spoken to me for 3 years. Everybody's told me that I'm crazy and that I'm wasting money and wasting time, and you've come along and you've said you're interested. And what you'll find is that they will be glad to tell you about their innovation. And if you do it often enough, you will have a suite of things where just you and the innovator know about it in the world. And that combination of innovations that you know about is unique to you, and it's like rocket fuel.